So ransomware seems to be a big thing in the news today. At least it was on Twitter. And I listened to a podcast and learned that I guess Microsoft came up with a story saying that 99% of ransomware attacks could be mitigated by just implementing a couple simple strategies. Namely, using 2FA or second factor authentication, and the other one is a password manager. And so I also went through this thing here, and it said the same thing. Blah 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 yada yada yada. Implementing multi-factor authentication or adopting password managers can drastically improve an organization's security posture. Anyway, I think these are pretty fun, and I think they're pretty easy to do, so I'm just going to make a video explaining how some of these things work. The first thing I'm going to do is show you how to use a password manager. But before I do that, I want to go over how to generate a password for that password manager. Let me pull up my password manager here. I like KeepassXC, and I'll show you how this works in just a minute. But the first thing you need to do is actually enter a password into here. So we're going to have to get a password first. And I'm going to show you the passwords that I like to use. I like to use dice generated passphrases. And so the way this works is you take 5 dice rolls for each word. You don't really need 5 dice. You can use 2 dice, or if you have 5 dice, you can do that. And then the first step is you roll all 5 dice at once. Now again, you can roll 2 at a time, or whatever works for you. And I like to use casino grade dice because the entropy is the best. So you roll those dice, and then you find the word it corresponds with. So in this example, the dice rolls were 4, 3, 4, 6, 3, and you write those numbers down. You might want to do this for like 6 words, is what they suggest, and that's probably best because it gives you a password that you can memorize, or I should say passphrase, because that's the correct terminology. And 6 words is just kind of easier to remember. Back when people used to memorize phone numbers, it was like basically 7 numbers, and so I think that the reason why they came up with that amount is because humans are able to memorize up to about 7, maybe 10 digits, and I think it's the same with words. And so once you do this like 6 times, and you have 5 different 5-digit numbers, and each digit ranges from 1 through 6, you get these words like panoramic, nectar, pre-cut, smith, banana, hand clap. And then to memorize it, they suggest coming up with your own mnemonic. It might be a story, scenario, or sentence that you will be able to remember, and that can remind you of the particular word you chose. So in this example, they say, the panoramic view as I tasted the nectar of a pre-cut Granny Smith apple and banana deserved a hand clap. And so the idea is you can generate a pretty secure password that is also memorable just by rolling dice and finding the corresponding words. And you might think, oh wow, that doesn't seem very secure, but there's actually this many alternatives that you could have chosen. So 2 to the 77th is a pretty big number, right? So essentially, to crack that password, you would have to first of all know that somebody's using these words here, and they would have to choose one. I mean, their odds are 1 in this of getting that correct. So you can also make it a little bit more difficult if you do things like use a title case, But I mean, you could even add numbers and stuff if you wanted to, but you don't really have to. It's pretty secure. And the other good thing about this is that if you use it with a password manager, it makes it a lot easier to secure the passwords that you use in everyday life, because what you want to do is create a different password for every site, and that way if your password does get compromised, somebody won't be able just to go on your bank account and use that same password and then take all of your money and then go on whatever, and you get the idea, right? So we want to have more than one password, and this is a good way to create different passwords on different sites. And so just to show you this here, I will pull up the list here, right? And so the first one is abacus, and if you were to roll 5 ones, you would get that, right? And then you can see, you know, it goes in alphabetical order, and there's a lot of words here. If you rolled a 4, 3, 1, 5, 6, it would be overdue. And I'm not going to actually show you how to roll dice because that's pretty self-explanatory. And I think this is, I think you can figure this out if you just roll those dice and come up with your passphrase. And then I'm just going to go ahead and use this example here. Now, obviously, you do not want to use this because it's right here on this website, and you know, obviously somebody probably has done this before, but it's a bad idea. And I'm not going to even show you how to roll the dice. It's pretty self-explanatory again. And so what I want to do is create a new database here, and then I'll call it example. You can put a description here if you like. I'm just going to leave that blank though. Then press continue. I would just leave this on the defaults unless you like really want to change it for some reason. Continue, and then you're going to enter your password. It makes you enter it twice, and as you can see here, I am just using that password from the EFF list, that example, and then I'm going to press done. Now, if you have something, if you have like a key or something, like a YubiKey, key, you can do that too, but I'm not going to do that. We're just going to show this. And then now we have a new database, and I'll just save it to my KeePass folder. And then if you want to sign up for a website, what you can do is, well, let's see, say you want to get a Gmail, but example Gmail, or yeah, we'll just put example Gmail there, and then we want our username to be example123@gmail.com. I'm not going to actually sign up for the site, but you can click this dice thing here, and then it'll give you a passphrase similar to what we just created using the dice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like we have 6 words here. If we want it to be more secure, I mean, we can even put 40 words, but a lot of websites won't let you have that many characters. But you can just slide this to make as many or as few words as you want. You can also do title case, and then that way, because some websites want you to have a capital letter, so this will satisfy that. And if they want a special character or something, we can add a word separator, and maybe they also want a number, we can do that too. So then now we meet all of those requirements, and then we apply the password, and I'm just going to knock this back down to 6, and there we go. Now we have a password with, I'll take out those spaces. Some things don't want you to have a space, and then I'll go ahead and do this again, and looks like the space is still there. But you can see now you have a pretty secure password. It was 77 bits or something like that. So that's how you use a password manager. Then press OK, and then now you have this password. And you can do this for multiple websites. You can do this for your logon at work. Here's another cool thing. Let's say you want a password for work, and you go ahead and apply the password. But every 3 months or so, they have it expire. So you want to make sure you set that to where you change it before it expires. And then you'll be prompted to change it before it does that. So that's how you use KeepassXC. And this is just on Windows, but like if you needed even more security, you could even use it on Tails. So like let's say you're a journalist in a dictatorship and you're trying to write about your dictator, but you want to be ultra super secret. It actually comes with this, or this KeepassXC comes with this operating system called the Amnesiatic Incognito Live System. And so what that does is it uses Tor and it hides your IP address by default, and it'll erase everything that you do not save to a special folder. So again, I mean, it really depends on your level of security, but I think for most people this will be good enough. And if you have any questions, just ask me in the chat, and hopefully this helps you learn how to use a password manager. And I should point out that this is free and open source, so it doesn't cost any money either. So that makes it kind of nice. Yeah, so thanks for watching.